I have spent most of my times while reading. I took note most of the times when I come home, when I study for myself. We always do, right? We all do that when we read a paragraph and we take note by point. And it took me a while to understand that is not the effective method to study. And best way, or let's say you can call it some toppers or the straight A students, what they used to do is they have a different method of organizing their thought or taking notes. In this video I'm going to talk about what is that note taking, what is that effective note taking. And they don't just take the note randomly, they take it selectively, and they don't spend as much time reading the material as the other rest of the average students do. So what makes them come so far ahead, and while the other students they struggle, they work hard, but they still lag behind. So in this video I'm going to talk about the concept called mind map. Before diving into that mind map or the technique about the mind map, I have to tell you one thing, that we all know that we have two type of memory. One is short-term memory, another is long-term memory. Think of short-term memory is like a front desk, front stores. Whenever you want to buy, let's say, shoes, pair of shoes, you want to go to the shop, you go there. If you have some unique taste in shoes, then they would have to look in their what, they have a separate store, right? Just like a elephant has the two teeth, one is for the swing, one is for the internal teeth. Just like that, store, any shops, any big enough shop have the two stores. One is the front store, one is, we call it godam. They have a stores backside. It is a large big store that they carry, that they put the most of the things. And that front store is like your short-term memory. When you want to know, or when you are confused, and let's say when you want to give what, if someone asks you what is your name, you quickly answers my name is this and my name is that, right? Because you don't forget that, because it is in the front desk, it is in the front store. Let's say someone asks you, where did you celebrated your first birthday? You might have to think back, and it might take some time to remember that. What takes that time, what takes that most times, it is because that it is in the long term memory, that you have to look around, you have to rummage through all the memory stuffs. And it is like it is in the godan, it is like a separate storehouse. The separate storehouse is like a long term memory. So one of the things that we need to talk about when we talk about the mind map is the short-term memory plays a crucial role when we take mind map or when we take note effectively. That our short-term memory has a limited space, which means we can only remember from 5 to 9 type items. If I give you a list of items, you'll only be able to remember only between the 5 to 9 items. You cannot remember more than that. That is the limitations of the mind or the short-term memory. You can take, or you can put a lot of things in the long-term memory, but in the short-term memory it has a limited space. So when you are reading the new topic for the first time, so what you need to do is you have to categorize all the big categories into a small chunks. So that is what the mind map is. Let me show you something. Let's say if you are studying about the cell, what are the type of cells? Types of cells are animal cell, plant cell. And what is inside the cell? If I give you all the information at once, your mind will overwhelm and you would not catch any of it. But if I give you only two options, let's say the power of mind map comes from our natural ability to remember the past. If I ask you, what did you read yesterday, you would not be able to remember. But if I asked you, can you trace back, or can you remember the path that you went or that you used while going to your first school, you'd probably remember it very clearly, detailed, with its details. How? Because we have this special ability to remember the path, to remember the route. Because it makes sense, because from the survival perspective, if you, let's say 400 years ago, if you're left in the jungles and if you forgot your path to get to the tribe, then it is a matter of life and death situation, right? So our memory associated or remembering about the past, or that it made that association it as a relevant, it became a relevant thing you have to remember. So just like that, what you need to do is, when we talk about the cell divisions, let's say if I, instead of giving you or overwhelming you with all the details, what I need to do is, cell division is made, or not cell division, cell is made up of two things. One is cell wall, another is protoplasm. Cell wall is like a structures, is like a surrounding. This is structure. When you get inside your rooms, all the walls around you is a cell wall. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. That's what it is. You have to imagine to incorporate, to retain the information. And whatever is inside the room, whatever is inside that boundary cell is called protoplasm. And after protoplasm, look at it. Protoplasm is again divided into two things: cytoplasm, nucleus. And now we have to further branch it. It goes on branching out. If I gave you the stuffs, all the details, all of these details at the beginning, then it would probably overwhelm you, or it would hurt your brain. You would not remember anything. That's why I gave you only two options. From here it goes on branching out. From here it goes further divides. And that's how it works. Because it now what it does is it uses our short-term memory, limitation of our short-term memory, and it inherently, this process, this mind map techniques inherently use the that insight that our memory can only handle up to 5 to 9 items at once. So these two things can be easily remembered, right? After that, it triggers, just after I said the protoplasm, it triggers the another memory. It goes on opening up. That's what it is. So, and one of the misconceptions I want to tell to you is that we think that just reading and taking a note would be enough to learn new things. But the learning happens between your brain, between these two ears. It happens inside your brain. The more you think about the topic, the more you will be able to remember about it. And if you think about it, you'll find many connections, and the more the actual learning process that happens is while you are thinking. So what is the difference between this mind map and other traditional techniques? I'll talk about that now. Other traditional technique doesn't use any sort of these things. We highlight the things, we underline the things, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because, and sometimes what we have to do is to make the connections in the book, in the textbook. It is not naturally given. You have to think for yourself, and sometimes the order is not logically given. Sometimes, let's say if you want to study about the 1 2 3 4 numbering, and instead of giving telling you, or instead of learning from the beginning, from the 0 1 2, I am teaching you, or you are understanding to learn from the 20 or 25, it would be very difficult, right? Just like any other thing. So it should goes branching out. And another technique is that while making these connections, while I made this note, but I had made a lot of bunch of these kind of notes now because of using these techniques, and it has allowed me to made some connections. Let's say while I'm making these connections, it has also made me be able to connect other ideas, other similar ideas. So for example, how does the electron moves? How does the electricity moves inside that copper wire? It moves like a water pipe. When water is flowing inside the pipe, it goes just like that. So I can pretty much explain anything like that, because what does the atomic structures look like? Atomic structures resembles the structure of the solar systems. In the between the atomic structure, there's a nucleus, and just like that, in between the solar system, there's a sun. Sun does the nuclear reactions. So just like that, it makes much more sense. For you to be able to make these notes, you have to make a lot of thinking. While making that thinking, it makes you to think a lot, it also makes you learn more things. That is the beauty of the mind map. So I've made other examples. Let's say this is a little example, but if I have to study about this evolution, look at here. If I have to study about evolutions, it goes on branching out. There are three theory about the evolutions, and there is the Lamarckism theory, Darwin's theory, Euclid, Rice mutation theory, and all of these theories and evidences, geological time scales, all of these things. And first, to make a mind map, you have to put a central idea at the middle. One of the theme, let's say we are talking about the chapters electricity has to be at the middle, and from that it goes on branching out. Types of electricity, use of electricity, importation of electricity. In the types there are two categories: static electricity, current electricity, and the sources of electricity. So it goes on building out, and it also embraces, or it also incorporates now one natural our ability to use our brain. That is, when we think visually, right? We are very much visual learner. We think in images, and when we think of a path, we have a certain image in our brain. Just like that, I'm making the path, and instead of taking the linear node, I'm branching out. This is in a different space, right? Now it makes sense, and my brain helps it to remember. It helps for my brain to remember, because it is in a different place. It is at the top, it is at the center. So this will help you learn more things. Thanks for watching.